There he is, the absolute well-missed legend, Ali Brownlee, who died 2 years today, and he is very much missed by us Borough fans. How are you doing? Evening. It's another Red Army this week on the back of a great win from the weekend. On the couch joining me this week, we've got Pat Murray and Ian Lawson. How are you doing, guys?
Right.
Brilliant. Right, we've got plenty to talk about, especially with the Red. But first, let's have a quick chat about Ali. 2 years ago, he passed away, sadly. I mean, Pat,
he was a good lad.
He's a commentator that is much loved and well missed, I would imagine.
Oh, he is, definitely, yeah. Oh, yes, he's missed, all right, because he was a friendly lad. I used to always help him in with his bags before he went in. He didn't need any help because he'd come back. But he was the sort of person who said, oh, well then, come on. And we'd carry his bag in. Yeah. And, you know, leave it at the left and up he'd go. But he was all right. He was a good lad.
What about yourself? What do you mean?
I think my own opinion is that apart from Stevie Gibson, he's probably the second king of Teesside. You can't go back far enough to be able to say you remember a time without him being around. And I think the legacy he's left behind is everybody will remember him, even from the small children up to the oldest of adults.
Yeah, it has been a big sad loss to lose him. Right, let's talk about the Reading match at the weekend. Stick with you in. What you thought? Traore. He gets one goal in, and now he's looking like he's unstoppable now.
Yeah. Is the word enigma a word you would use with this guy? Is he a bit more than that? Is something hidden in there where he's kept it to one side because he didn't have the right pat on the back, say, from various people to get him to concentrate on what he was doing? If he keeps it going, like a lot of people have said, even the manager said, he could be anything. And I think those quotes will come to light if he just stick to it.
Mm-hmm. Pat, do you think Pulis has found his niche out with the team?
No, I don't. Because, I mean, I've been watching Borough since the 60s. And every so often, he scores a goal, he'll be a big hero, he'll be front page news, back page news, whatever. But he'll never be 20 to 30 goals. He'll make goals if he knows where the centre is. Yeah. At the moment, he doesn't know where the centre is. He'll shoot, but I tell you who scored a better goal than him, George Friend. He scored what, when they won QPR? Brilliant goal. You can't say because he scored 2 goals, he's the bee's knees. Obviously, he's a talking point at the moment, but he's not the bee's knees. He'll never be a footballer. Never.
So what do you think Pulis should tweak the team a bit? Who do you think he should have more up front? And
no, I think he's in the right position, but he wants to work more on him, on Traore. You know, like saying, look, stop the ball, look up. He never looks up. He just hits the ball, hoping and expecting the likes of Rudy Gestead or whatever, well, it used to be Fletcher, in the middle. But they're not there, so that he looks stupid when he passes the ball over, because he's not looking. He never looks.
What about yourself, Ian? What do you think about that?
I think Tony Pulis will know himself, and anybody can say you don't put a player in just because he's got a name or he's got this or that out of his locker. I think you have to give the lad plenty of game time. It's something that's been said in recent weeks and months that he's not had the 90 minutes behind himself to get them. I think this is, if it's the start of something great, then brilliant, keep him on for the 90 minutes. You don't put players in just for the looks of it. They have to either be cutting edge or not. I think he does a lot of other things other than scoring goals and taking players on. I think he drags people away from other areas in the pitch, gives other players time to come in. One of the things you could say recently is that we don't score goals from midfield enough. I think that will come in, hopefully, and once things iron out a little bit more and Tony Pulis has had a bit more time with the team, maybe got a couple of players in over the summer. I think next summer, if we don't go up this year, I think we'll be knocking on the door next year.
Fair enough. Right, so we'll come back to the chat in a sec. But first, we caught up with Tony Pulis after the match. Let's see what he had to say.
Again, we've not taken the chances that we should have. You know, I don't think there's any question that Adama gets a second goal, and then when you miss a penalty, Patrick misses from about 6 yards out on the angle. Ledbetter hits the inside of the post and somehow it comes out. There's 5 fantastic, or should be 5 goals. And when it's 2-0, the opposition have only got to score once, and psychologically you get uptight because you've been so dominant in the game. there's only one more mistake and you could throw it away. So it was lovely to get them in afterwards. We'll certainly talk about it and talk about the 20 minutes after they'd scored. And there's certain things we have to do, and we have to do better than what we did today.
Tuna. Pulis there after the match at the weekend. I will get his name right one day. Right, guys, back to the game at the weekend. We're talking about Traore and Pulis's possible influence on him. How do you see his future with the team, Ian?
It all depends on how long Tony Pulis is here. Different reports, different contract lengths.
Do you think Pulis will stay for the rest of the season?
I think he will stay this season, and possibly next season too. Whether Stephen Gibson's give him a long-term agenda, or I know he's asked for him to look at different parts of the club, whether he's going to be a mentor of the club or be more involved, I don't know. Obviously recently Curtis Fleming's been brought back. Is that somewhere involved in that, to try and get someone who's known the club, been here a long time, to maybe mentor other people around the club, to bring in someone like himself in as long-term manager, maybe, who knows? I think the only people that know are the people involved in that. As for Tony himself, I think hopefully he'll stay and take us up, and then see the job on keeping us in that league, because so far we've not stayed in that league long enough to be able to say we're back to where we were 10 years ago.
Great. Right, we'll catch up with these guys in a sec. Joe Nick was at the match. Here's his match report.
Outside at the Riverside following Borough's 2-1 victory over Reading, a really important 3 points which we really felt Borough needed to kind of keep their playoff hopes alive. Adama Traore was by far the star of the show, 2 goals from him either side of half-time, and Reading couldn't really deal with him when he got the ball on that right flank. Borough once again very solid out of possession, with Lawson, Leadbitter and Downing all putting in good shifts in the middle of the park. It was made a little bit tougher than it should have been when Reading pulled a goal back with 12 minutes to go from Chris Martin. Borough could have made it easier for themselves when Traore was brought down 5 minutes from time, but Sombalonga couldn't convert the penalty, but they managed to hang on and claim a really important victory, and Tony Pulis' first league victory at the Riverside.
Thanks for that, Joe. Right, we're talking about Borough and yourself saying that you've been going to Borough matches since the 60s.
Exactly.
A lot longer than I have, mate. And you've got a lot of memorabilia here. Do you want to just...
well, it starts off in 1920s, and this is the 1920s autographed. So it's nearly 100 years. And if you look at R.J. Williamson...
Right, Khan.
He's, well, Gordon Jones is after him, but he's the leading players, played more times for the Borough than anybody else. And that's the one I always look for. But there's also George Kerr and Jackie Kerr from South Bank lads, and Willie Kerr. There's 3 Kerr brothers all in there.
Yeah.
So they're all on there. And the centre forward at the time was Murdoch. Where is he? Yeah, Murdo. He was in the land, and then there was Georgie Camsell and Mickey Fenton, and then when I started going, 1960s, was Brian Clough.
Yeah, just close yourself so the people at home can just really see. That's
the 1920s.
That's 1920. That off, isn't it?
I've got nearly 100 years. You got the 73s, and then you got the 60s, you got the 50s. There's the 50s there. Everything's signed, because I always collect it. If it's not signed, I don't want it. It just goes in the bin.
Wow.
When they leave, like Zager, I just throw them in the bin. Because instead of sending them off, which you can send them off, but you wait a long time for them. Sometimes they don't bother. I've seen them send them just to Sunderland for Catamall, and he wouldn't send them. I don't know what he did with them. But I don't bother. But that's the 20s, and then you got the 50s. Everyone's signed it, and it's Derek Stonehouse is dead. Well, they're all dead. Ron W. Dix used to go to Jack Hatfield's, which is closing down now.
Yes, that is, isn't it?
He used to work in there, and I used to go in there with the stuff, and then just pop it over, and then he just he used to sign it, and he was pretty good about signing. They all were.
Wow.
And then if you look at this,
you've got a collection of shirts as well, haven't you?
I've got these 2 shirts of all the older players, and the thing about these older players is you can read the names, whereas you've got a shirt up there, it's today's players, and you can't read them.
No, you can't. There's little squiggles, aren't there?
But on here, like, you've got like Billy Day,
Yeah.
who just died recently in January, and somewhere Joe Scott, who I was at the both funerals at last two, Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. So they're on there. Everyone's on there. Arthur Fitzsimons,
That's brilliant.
everyone. Jackie Charlton, Graham
Wow,
Souness,
You've got loads, haven't you?
and Gordon Jones,
That's
preferred on the
fantastic.
white. Oh,
Brilliant. Thank you for showing us that, Pat.
that's all right.
Right, we've got more chat still to come, but first let's go make some money, shall we, and have a break. Welcome back, second half of Red Army TV, myself Matt Bland, and on the couch we've got Pat and Ian. Before we go about these guys, let's catch up on what you've been seeing on social media.
Hi guys, Tom Pugmer says, I thought we played really bad against an even worse team. We should have won 4-1, but we were rubbish. Jonathan Taylor says, don't understand or agree with the criticism of a Sombalonga. Grant should have taken a penalty. It happens, wasn't costly. Richard Smith, today marks the second anniversary of the passing of Ali Brownlee. Warmest thoughts go to the Brownlee family in this most difficult of days. Totally, mate. Totally agree. And last but not least, Maddo, near Madison. Always in my thoughts, Ali. Never forgotten.
Thanks for that, Mark, and you're doing a grand job there with the social media, good lad. Right, Pat, earlier on in the show we talked about Traore and his goal scoring that he's managed
scored
to
two.
pull off. Yeah, 2. Do you think if an acceptable offer came along for him, do you think he would take it?
Well, every footballer today chases money, so they'll only go for the money. If the money's silly, like it is in football, I mean, Sky's just paid out $9.5 million per match. So, yes, I think he'll go, yes, if the offer's right. He's only a young lad.
Yeah.
He'll want to better himself if a better team. I mean, can you imagine him? Well, he's a headless chicken at the moment. That's how he plays, he's a headless chicken. But if with the right manager, I mean, I don't think Pulis is the right manager, but at the moment he is. But if he was with Wenger or even Moreno or someone, Man United, if he went to them teams, yes, I think so, yeah. He'd be pretty good.
What about yourself, Ian? What's your thoughts on that?
My own thoughts are, it depends how the club sell that idea to him to stay or to go. I think we're long standing, we've got a great record in bringing players forward.
Yeah, but we sell them as quick as we bring them forward.
Yeah.
I mean, think of Pallister,
I mean,
for one.
there's players there that have left, and some people may have thought going towards the end of the careers, and they went to Leicester and Chelsea and won Premier League title medals.
We did, yeah.
Those things can be brought forward, but I think we've got a great record as we stand, as being able to be a bringing forward of younger players. It's how they sell that, how they sell their idea. And Traore himself has to buy into that. Also, I think there are other players that have left, younger players, and not done so well because they haven't stayed.
That's right, yeah.
It's all down to that, I think, myself.
Do you think Curtis Fleming's coming back in with the squad now? Where do you think he can make any changes to the team, like training wise? Do you think he can get the best out of the younger players, or the players that are already existing in the 12? Do you think he can make something more of them?
I like Curtis. I even named one of my sons after him, which is sort of one of those things. You can't buy that. You can't buy loyalty
That's
within a club or an area or anything within football. Outside decisions will make it come to fruition, whether he stays or whatever job he does do. I hope he grabs it by the throat and brings that and does a great job.
Yeah. What about yourself, Pat? What's your views on that?
Well, he's been before. He's been tried. He's even been a manager as Fleming, and he never made it either. A manager. I mean, I was silly. I couldn't believe he'd left QPR to come to Middlesbrough. They must have offered him some money.
Yeah.
That's the only I can think of, because he was doing a good job. Well, as far as we know, down at QPR, down in London. So I don't know what.
I think he
why
stated
couldn't
himself the love of the club brought him back too. I think
think
that was
so?
a big,
I mean,
I think that was a big thing.
I don't know. I mean, if he was that good, we'd have kept all of him. But there again, I mean, Traore, we'll go back to Traore again. He come from, was it Barcelona or Juventus? I'm not sure which. But he come from a big club,
Barcelona.
right? Barcelona then. He come from a big club. And if they twist his, you know, his ideas and say, we'll offer you so much money, he'd be back there. He'd be a fool not to.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody,
Any player, wouldn't it?
Middlesbrough have never ever, as long as I've known them, they've never ever spent or bought. I mean, 15 million for a non-striking striker. That says everything. I mean, they spent 12 million on Alves.
Yeah.
12 million pound on Alves.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him 2 million, even in today's money.
You know yourself, I think there's been a couple of times where plenty of clubs have bought players on the strength of a video or whatever.
Oh, I agree.
Everyone's been bitten by that
Why?
bug at once, so there's no
Why?
one can turn around and say they weren't bitten by it. And I think
But the top clubs haven't. The top six never. They never. I mean, they always sell them for 189 million pound.
I think if
You
you
know,
go back,
Progba and
there'll be
anybody.
somewhere along the line you'll be able
Oh,
to pull
I agree with you.
for that.
100%. They have done. You know, they've bought the odd player, very rarely. But they very rarely do with the top team. Not like Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are well known for it. I mean, we sold Pallister to Man United for 2.6 million, and we bought him back for 2.7. Where was the maths in that? I call him Mattress, same as Urban Mattress. You know why? He spent most of his time on his back. That was Pallister, wasn't he?
Well, it's fair enough. Fair,
When he
fair
come back,
comments, to be honest, isn't it?
he only played 20 more times for Middlesbrough, and we paid more to get him back for 20 games.
That's fair enough. Right, we'll move on from that. Right, fan rants. Mark was out and about after the match on Saturday. Let's see what you guys had to say after the game.
Yeah, they played well. Traore was brilliant. But I just don't understand the penalty. What was up with Grant?
Worst penalty I've ever seen in my life.
I think the Assombalong has just signed his way out of the club, hasn't he? He took it off Ledbetter, why?
I think it's a really good match. The first time we've won it since ages.
Definitely 100% loved it. It was awesome.
Right, you talked about earlier on about your memorabilia. To be fair,
Yeah.
you've got how many tops have you got?
Tops, shirts, 200 or 300.
200 and 300.
Most, well, nearly all. They've all signed. They've all been signed, and I've got about 100 players, ex-player shirts.
Wow.
You know, that play for Middlesbrough actually in the shirt. So
So what era was the first shirt that you've
the
got?
first shirt, 70s.
70s.
Yeah, the Frankie Spraggan. I used to work with Frankie Spraggan moved into a show house
Yeah.
when I was on the building sites, and he used to give me the tickets, and then he'd give us the shirt first time. So I've got a original white band
Yeah.
with the thing on from number 3 on the back with Frankie Spraggan,
Wow.
and I got him to sign obviously. So I mean, from then, I mean, the only one thing I won't get signed is a ball. I won't stand there with a ball because I have a clipboard.
Yeah.
You know, with the programmes, I just rip the programme up nowadays. George goes mad, he used to have Middlesbrough programmes, George. You do what with a programme? I said, I'll just rip them up and I can get the picture out. I mean, they're terrible at today's programmes. There's about 5 pages in it, and it used to be like that. You know, I used to get about 5 or 6.
Yeah, I've got.
No.
I mean, I've got some myself from the
Terrible.
dad had from the 60s and like Chelsea.
Oh yeah, there was no pictures of them, but
Yeah.
they were artistic. The
Oh,
front
yeah.
and all are very artistic. Nowadays it's all adverts, see how much money they can make.
Memorabilia. Do you have?
Just apart from the odd shirts, not a really great deal. Recently bought my children's shirts, but going back just sort of like the odd book, bought a gold and all that kind of stuff from the 90s. Not a great deal in memorabilia as such, just memories. Memories of the game.
That's it, isn't it?
That's
Every
it,
Borough
yeah.
fan's got memories,
Yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah.
If you think you can top Pat's memorabilia collection, get in touch with us at Borough RedArmy
I've got everything
and
printed.
shows what you've got.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we were at the food bank at the weekend. Let's catch up on what was happening over there.
Dave Roberts, RedArmy TV. Why do you think the fans are sort of donating so generously today, Dave? Why do you think they want to be involved?
Why not? We tend to look after our own, don't we, in all walks of Teesside life. So for Middlesbrough fans, the call went out from the supporters forum saying Food Bank needs help this game, bring stuff down, and fans have turned out en masse. It's been a fantastic effort by supporters. We know Middlesbrough, Teesside has a problem. Food banks are being used more and more nowadays than they were 5-6 years ago. So if the fans can provide their little bit, do their little bit, it's going to help our own, the people of Teesside.
Having worked in the sector for about 3 years now and really know what it's like for people who are in need to come to us, and it's through the support of people like the football supporters that we were able to provide for those who are in need and be able to provide food for them in an emergency or in urgent situations. So it means a lot, and it's this sort of things that really allows us to continue with the work. So we really appreciate the support that we have. It's all non-perishable food, and that's what we need. It's all tinned food, from tinned soup to beans, tinned meat, and all the items that we need, because it all went out in the publicity, and they've been responding to that as well. So they've been bringing non-perishable food, which is in date, and that's what we need.
Good deed done there at the Riverside. Right, very quickly, guys. Weekend match predictions.
I think a score draw.
Score draw.
2 each.
What about yourself, Pat?
I think we'll get beat. Play Cardiff, aren't we?
Yeah.
We'll get beat.
Get beat. We haven't had a very good run with them, have we?
No. Warnock is the manager, and he's every time we play, they like to Warnock.
That's fair enough. Right, at the weekend, we are going to be live here on Red Army Match Day, starting off at 2:30 on Facebook. So if you want to get involved with that, then please join us live and you can interact with the presenters during the match. And also, Sunderland Travel, still seats left, so get in touch with us, 01642 688 987. Guys, been an absolute pleasure, and we'll be back same time next week. Thanks for watching.